Hey FlossTube, it's Sunday, March 7th, and it's time for an update, a summary of February and all the things that are going on. So first of all, we're a little late this month because work kind of imploded the last couple weeks. There's just been a lot of craziness, and so it sort of took away from it took away some stitching time. Obviously it took away recording time, so that's why we're a week in, but it is what it is. I did take the time to do a little polishing, if you will, of the channel banner and icons and stuff, so I have officially changed the name for the channel to Annette in Arizona, so YouTube understands that that's the new name. So thankfully it's a lot easier to do now than when I first started recording many years ago. So I took advantage of that and formalized to Annette in Arizona. The other big thing, of course, is that I'm very happy because baseball has started. I am a huge baseball fan, and I love all things baseball. So in addition to being able to start watching some spring training and following my teams in spring training, the World Baseball Classic has started, so I've been watching some of that. And Banana Ball has started. I am a Savannah Banana Ball fan, and we actually have tickets to go to a game here at the end of March. Two of the teams are going to be playing, and thankfully I was able to score tickets for that game, so I'm looking forward to that. One of the highlights, at least for February, was I did make a visit to the attic. I had noticed that Renee from Prairie Stitcher and Kim, the Contented Stitcher, pretty sure, I should have checked that, I'm sorry Kim, we're going to be making a trip to the visit to the attic, and I figured, you know what, I have a couple things that I need. Let's go down and see if I can at least say hello. And I was able to do that, and it was an absolute pleasure meeting with Renee and with Kim, and I hope they had a fabulous visit. And it's always nice to meet people in person and be able to at least have a little bit of a chat and connect in real life for folks that you've only seen on a screen. So I was able to do that last month. I'll share what I purchased in a little bit. So one of the things that I've also kind of been mulling over is actually not just doing a start for my birthday in April, but actually going ahead and initiating a bit of a stitch along, or start along, I guess is probably a better thing. I know I'm not the only stitcher with a birthday in April, so I figured why not put a sal out there and see just something fun for April birthdays. So I have checked a hashtag on Instagram, Sweet April B-Day Sal. I'll put it down here. I have a couple starts that I am planning for April. Again, this will make sense once I show you what I got from the attic, but in the short term, feel free to join in if you're an April birthday, if you just want to help celebrate April birthdays, either is welcome. So Sweet April B-Day Sal is what the hashtag is. All right, so let's talk about our rotation report for the month of February. I did complete the full rotation. It started on January 29th. It did not complete until March 1st. Again, work, but we're not going to talk about that anymore. I did 2 finishes during the round. I touched 12 whips as part of the rotation, and I did have 4 starts. Yeah, a couple were planned, a couple were anticipated, so 4 starts total. For the whips that I count stitches on, I had over 9,000 stitches counted for the round. Plus, though, there were 25 hours of stitching for whips that I don't count stitches on. They're just paper patterns. So I'm probably well over 12,000 stitches for the round for the month of February. All right. So let's talk about the whips, or the finishes. Let's talk about the finishes. So again, 2 finishes for the round. The first finish I've got here, and no, nothing's ironed. Like it's been a week. Is Hazel. So Hazel is done, and her little heart. I also did her little heart there. So she's good. So she's a Stacy Nash animal cracker. So yeah, she's on all Card 4 flosses. She's on a Weeks Dye Works fabric that I got from Willow Cottage Quilt Co. I get a monthly package of an animal cracker that's all kitted up. So it came, I used exactly what they sent me. So Hazel is done. The other thing I finished was the focus piece for the round, and that is the wedding sampler for my son and his wife. Here it is. So I was at about here at the end of January in the first round, and so I've stitched. It took me two and a half 10-hour slots to get it done, but it's all done. I also added, there's a row of beads on the outside, just on the very edge. Sorry about that. So yeah, it is all done. This is done in Silks for You. I think it's PR 148 is the silk. I'll put it on the bottom. If I don't remember, it's on 36 count Winter Moon Swigert linen. I modified, this is the very top. Modified this row to put their names in, obviously their last name here, and then I modified this row because this was supposed to be the owls. So there were 3 pairs of owls across this particular band, and I changed that to cats because they have 3 cats. So everything else, until we get down to the date row, everything else is as charted. So I'm really loving it. Now I need to figure out where I'm going to take it for framing, because I keep losing my good framers. So we'll be figuring that out here soon. I actually have the same piece in its original form started for me. That's an older whip at this point. So anyway, so yeah. So the wedding sampler's done, which made me very happy. All right, so this is the whip pile. So let's work through the whip pile, and it's got the new starts woven in there. So I'll call those out when we get to them. All right, the first thing is the local conditions, Satsuma Street local conditions, which is the temperature chart that I'm doing for this year for Mesa. So you can see this first row is January and February, and then I've started March. I've just got the beginnings of March. That yellow in there is 90 degrees. We touched 90 at the very end of February. Yeah, the joys of Arizona. It's a daily-ish stitch. Some days I'm really good about stitching the previous day. Sometimes it's 3 or 4 days of catch up, but that's okay. We're moving along. We are caught up. So the new start that once Hazel was done, that particular slot is alternating between animal crackers and tiny towns. So I started Big Heart Tiny Town, which seemed appropriate for February. So that's what it will look like. It's all call for colors, and that's what I'm working on right now. And here's where we're at. I started in the middle, and so then I moved off to the right here. This is Sand 32 count Belfast. So, but yeah, we're going just a couple hours in so far, and I might finish it in the 10 hours. If not, I'll definitely finish it in April and be able to start. Then I'll go back to an animal cracker. So there's that. Okay, one of the other new starts that I had planned for was and I probably mentioned it last time, was the Modern Folk Embroidery Modern Folk Embroidery, Salentines, Love Conquers All. So here's what it'll look like. I am doing the 4-color version of Roxy Floss, and this is one that I can't count stitches on because I only have the paper pattern from Modern Folk Embroidery. But here's where we got to. I made a good start on that bottom left page. This is Roxy Floss and Roxy fabric in creme brulee, I think. I'm pretty sure it's creme brulee is the fabric. Pretty sure. Pretty sure. Oh. I don't know. I don't have the package. Anyway, so I'm pretty sure it's creme brulee is the fabric, but so that's what it is. So now it'll just get a regular slot of 10 hours at a crack. I don't think it'll take more than 4 or 5 months, 4 or 5 slots to complete though. So yeah, so that was nice. It is 40 count fabric. 40 count, 1/1, all the things. All right. Next, Satsuma Street Holiday House. I did get a picture of where I was when I started, and I'll put it over here. Put the picture up over here of where I started. And here's where we are now. So we are now. So I did quite a bit across the top. I finished the tree and the little elf on that side, and then just sort of worked my way across the top there of the building. One thing I realized when I was working on this is, so I had this as the original stitch along, which is 6 parts essentially. I've been stitching off part 5, not part 6, and so it was showing that I was like 60% complete. Well, yeah, because I didn't have the last part. But the good news is that now after this particular round, I'm officially 54% complete. I am going to continue just to work off of part 5 until it's done, and then I'll switch over to part 6 for the last bit. So yeah. I was kind of disheartened because it was saying, oh, you're 60% complete. Yeah. No, I'm not. So fortunately, I am not. But that's okay. It's a fun little stitch, no problem. And it's on 36 count Fox and Rabbit Hog Bristle. All right, next is the Witchy Stitchers Graveyard Wander. Again, I have a picture of where I was before I started. This particular slot. So, and here's where we are now. I went down to the lower right page and started working my way up her dress. I had struggled. I tried to get it into Pattern Keeper before and I was unsuccessful, but I managed to do the right combination of adjustments to the pattern and using the right option on Pattern Keeper. Thankfully, I've now gotten the chart into Pattern Keeper, which makes me very happy because it just makes it go so much faster. But here we are. So I'm working up her voluminous skirt towards the top there. Oh yeah, coming along nicely. And there's now been a companion chart released, which I'll put a picture here, which I think I'm going to do once this one's done. I'm just going to go right into that one on the same fabric because I love it. And she did say there was going to be a third. So, and I think I have enough fabric that I can do all three on the 36 count Fox and Rabbit Prehistoric, which is what that is. All right. The other new start that I had talked about and had planned for was from the Christmas gift for my son, which is Wintertime Fairy. It's a Dimensions kit, so here's what it will look like. Dimensions Gold Collection. Ta-da! I did start down here on the bottom. Now, see, there's a story this month with all of these whips. So, it is a Dimensions pattern. However, unlike many other Dimensions patterns, it does not do. It's basically 2 over 2 the whole place. The only difference is whether it's a full cross or half cross. The figure is done in full crosses, all the background is in half crosses. And then there's some blending filament that gets laid over those. So I did swap out the fabric, which is, I'm just using a 36 count white even weave instead of the 18 count Aida that was in the chart, but that's where I'm at. That's where I got to. And I was working off the paper pattern, which again is fine. I have no problem working off the paper. They're large sheets. They're 11 by 17 legal size sheets, and the pattern's broken into 3 sections. The challenge I was having though is that it's very glossy paper, which means I can't highlight, I can't mark on it. Which, I mean, you can see, right? It's not, I wouldn't call it confetti, but there's definitely, you know, different shading, and I needed to keep better track of the stitches and figuring out where I was and that kind of stuff. So I took the chart to Staples and was able to scan it and create a PDF that I can now bring into my PDF notes, which is what I use to read PDF patterns. So now and then I can mark it off, which will be great. So I should actually get more done because now I'm going to be working off a digital pattern. Pattern Keeper said, no way, no how, which is fine. I'll just keep it in PDF notes. But it should be a little easier to work with, so going forward. All right. Next one is Shannon Christine Nutcrackers, which is on Picture This Plus Ren. And again, I have a picture of where I started before. But here's where we're at now. So I finished that big tall nutcracker in the middle. You see it? Okay. Finished the big one in the middle, started the one next to him. There are 6 nutcrackers on the bottom row. So once I finish the turquoise guy, I've only got one more he's shorter. So he's shorter over here. I got one more and I'll have the entire bottom half done. So this is just over 35%, close to 40% done, but yeah. And no, I haven't done any back stitching. All the holes are for beads. So I am doing the metallics, but we'll have to go in with a little bit of back stitch and some beads. So that's good. All right. I also put some more time into, I Love My Dogs from Victoria Sampler. Here's where we are, dogs. And this time I started working my way up. I had the middle sections done. And I chose to go up for this last round. Now, I did pretty good. I got a few rows. I got, a couple specialty stitch rows done. And I put in the sidebars for the pulled thread. If you can see the sidebars there that's going to be a pulled thread row. And I started the big dog row at the top. This came up during a particularly crazy work days, and while I only put about 6 hours into this total, and managed what I did, I had to stop because I just didn't have the level of concentration that was required to actually finish off the dog row at the top. So, but it'll be pretty, once I pick it up again, when work has not been so crazy, or if it's on weekend, I should be able to finish that top row no problem, and then move to the bottom and start moving towards the bottom. There's a big Bargello row on the bottom, so again, we'll see. I think a couple, 3 more slots and it'll be done. All right. I also put some more time into Abundance, Shakespeare's Peddler. This was a piece from the Autumn Abundance retreat at Attic last fall. And this was the piece that we got. Here's where I started. And here's where we're at now. So more house, got more house done, more grass on the front, and then started the chickie at the top and the tree, and anyway, moving along. This is still the bottom left page. The bulk of that house is the bottom left page. In fact, the page ends right at the top of the house. So I'm going to be on this page for a while longer while I finish off this house. Because yeah, the page is like right up here is the edge of the page. Or actually, I think it's right here is the edge of the page. So yeah. So next time I'll probably come in and do more of the border here, and obviously do, spend a few hours on the house, but so yeah. So we continue with the house. Everything else is just, all the other pages are mostly like motifs and stuff. So once I get past the house, the rest of the pages should not be nearly as time consuming. Okay. All right. So the other next piece is Modern Folk Embroidery, No Time Like the Present. Finished picture, and where I started this particular round. And here's where we ended up. So I finished that 30 stitch band. So I finished the 30 stitch band all the way across. This is being done on 36 count platinum linen in 814 and 336. So I got the clock done. I got the columns done on the left and right side. And the next time I pick it up, I will start a new 30 stitch band for across. So it's coming along. I'm just over 60%. If you go to the original SAL schedule from 2024, I'm in the middle of July. So I still have July, August, September, and October. So I've only got 3.5 more sections to do. So again, moving along. The other thing that we talked about last time, and it came to fruition, was the Fox and Rabbit 2026 mystery. I hemmed and hawed. I really liked the February part with the alphabet, and then March came out with the second band, and I said, let's see what I've got in my stash, and here's where I ended up with. So this is Fox and Rabbit Twilight 36 count linen. I'm not sure what I'm going to do up in the corner, so there's nothing there. Got everything done. I am all caught up. And the thread, I'm doing it monochromatic, and the thread is Sulky Buttercup. Buttercup is the name of the color. So it's a nice variegated gold, which is just gorgeous against this beautiful, it just glows against that linen. So I did not do the back stitching on the March band. I honestly don't think it needs it. If I do decide that I want to add it in, I'll just pull a DMC that matches one of the tones in the Buttercup and use that for back stitching. So that will now be my first slot in every rotation round going forward. I did just a few hours to check the colors, and then when I started the current round on the 1st, I did the March band, and it was about 8 hours to get everything caught up. So I don't think going forward it'll take a full 10 hours to get the March band, to get the next month's band done. So it'll just be a short slot as my first in the rotation in my first band. So last piece that I worked on was Divine Beasts by Needle Lock Design. Here's where I ended up at the end of February. I did determine this, so this is my focus round for the rotation round that started on March 1st. So I finished the last round on March 1st, and then I went, and it was a Saturday, or it was a Sunday. Still had more stitching time, so I went ahead and started the next round. That's when I did the Fox and Rabbit for a couple of days, and then I had a couple of days this week where I had Precious Little stitching, but I did finish the first focus slot, which is now going to be Divine Beasts. So here's now where we're at. So at the end of February, I had completed Cerberus and the bottom right corner of the border. So in this first slot in March, I completed the border, period, at least the Greek key part of the border, and got a good start on Poseidon's Sea Serpent, which is the monster down there. I actually got about 1,500 stitches in the 10 hours that I worked on it. And I only have about 1,200 left. So I need to finish the Sea Serpent. I need to, there's some bubbles and stuff down here. Poseidon's name is down here. And then there are little thingies in the corner that I need to fill in all the way around. But, so again, this is going to be one that's going to be finished in probably next week. It'll be probably finished next week. So that'll be another whip off the list. Everybody say yay. So it'll be a quick finish for this round. So that'll be one finish for this round. Okay, sorry, I had to do a quick set change and let a dog out. So, all right, so yeah, so those are the results from the previous rotation round, as well as kind of the initial focus for the one that started on March 1st. Again, 10-hour slots. I don't do the whips in the same order every time. It's just, I just pick whatever is next based on either what day of the week it is, how much time I have, what I'm feeling like, if I want to deal with a paper pattern, if I just want to do something easy and keep it digital. The order changes every time. So, which is what helps me stay true. I believe it's what is helping me stay true and consistent on that stack of whips, without making my muse mad because I'm telling her what to do. I don't take orders from everyone, obviously, in my stitching, including myself. So I just try to keep it organized at this point. All right. So, but the other thing I've been doing is, for years I was very diligent about keeping a WIP list. I have a spreadsheet that has the WIPs, when I started them, all information. I've kept it for years. Well, 3 years ago, when I kind of had a bit of a slump, I stopped maintaining it, and I let it go. And so a couple weeks ago, I was going back through thinking, all right, let's see if there's anything in here, number one, that I just have no interest in going back to, and I need to figure out how to basically remove it from the list and just, let it go. I just need to let it go. But what I found was the opposite. There were definitely things that were on the list. As soon as I saw the name, I was like, oh, I want to work on that now. I want to pull that back out. So I pulled out, and I showed in my last update, right? I pulled out some of what the archive WIPs, right? I dug into the archive a little bit. Well, I've done that again, and what I have found is that I have some archive WIPs that I think I could probably finish them in 10 hours. Potentially less, plus or minus an hour, let's say. So I'm thinking, once I finish Divine Beasts, I may go ahead and keep another kind of those focus slots and just bring in some of these archive WIPs that are so close to being finished that I could just wrap them up in 10 hours. So I got a couple of them here. To show you that will be good candidates. In addition, so I didn't bring Snowman mantle back, so that was the big wide one from Bent Creek, and I'm on the last part of the mantle, and it's Pearl Cotton over 2 of 18 count linen. I think that's a 10-hour finish. So that's on the radar to potentially go ahead and get that done, and then. This one, no, that's not the one. Sorry. Is it this one? Yes, this one. This is one that I have from 2020, and it is a Hands Across the Sea, Mary Steed, 1824, excuse me, Mary Steed, 1824. All right. Now the funny thing is, I bought this as a PDF, and I took it to Staples and had it printed and bound, and it's got a nice, shiny cover, and it's got the back. I paid money to get this done. And then this week I basically said, it's PDF. It'll go in Pattern Keeper, and it did. So, but that's okay. It makes it easy to show, right? So here's where it is. In fact, let me just slap it on here. So I basically have the entire bottom part done. This is on 40 count linen using 103s. And all I have left to do are the alphabets on the top. And the funny thing is, the alphabet is usually my favorite part. So I think I can totally get that done. Those 3 rows of alphabet and number, that's 10 hours max. So yeah, oh, maybe I do know the fabric. Hold on. It is, Weeks Parchment. Weeks Parchment, 40 count. And like I said, I have the 100 threes. I have 100 threes. There's one more. Voila. So those are the colors. So yeah, so I'm thinking once I have Divine Beasts done next week, then at some point between my regular whips, I will get Mary Steed in there and I will get her done. And that will be the end. One more whip, one more old whip off the list. Now, the other thing that I found as I was going through the list, there were other things I mentioned, I really want to work on that. So I have a couple other that I have pulled out. The first is Sampler from Jardin Privé, Sampler Bouquet, I think is the name of it. Now, I'll put a picture. This is part 2. There's 3 parts to this particular chart. Part 1, part 2, part 3, very creatively named. I don't like part 1. It's a big flower vase with an alphabet, and that didn't do anything for me. But I really like part 2. There's a house in it. And I really like part 3, which is got a nice fancy alphabet on it. And again, I'll put the pictures up here. And I remembered starting part 2 because it was on my list. And I couldn't remember if I was going to do 2 and 3 together or what. Well, once I dug into the whip and I found the bag, I quickly figured out what I was doing and what I was thinking. So I'm doing them separately. So here's where I ended up with on part 2. This is 40 count. It's originally charted in DMC, but Attic created a conversion to sampler threads. Attic created a conversion. Oh no, you're gonna love this. Just to tell you how old this is. Attic did a conversion to crescent colors. Now, I'm sure some of you are going, crescent colors? I've never heard of crescent colors. Yeah, that's because that's not what they're called anymore. What are they called now? Colorworks. I'll put it down here because I am having a brain cramp. Anyway, now so this was when Sharon Crescent, who was the originator of Crescent Colors, was still doing them. She sold them to Diane from Little House Needlework and Cottage, and the daughter, Country Cottage, right? And so then they renamed them because they couldn't call them Crescent Colors anymore. But anyway, so I have the conversion from the Attic that is the DMC to what was originally Crescent, and I bought them at that time because I'm sure the dial-outs on some of these have changed. But anyway, so I have the original conversion from Attic, and that's what I'm using on 40 count. Now, when I started this, I was not an experienced 40 count linen stitcher. It was still a struggle, a little bit of a struggle. Now it is no struggle whatsoever. So I'm actually looking forward to bringing this in. So once I get to the point where I've finished a couple more things and I can bring this back in, then this is one of the things that will come in at some time this year. I don't know when, but at some point this year, this will get back out and get more work on it. The other whip that I found, bunny bag from So Much to Love, was an Australian band sampler. Again, all of these has stories this month. So Allie is an Australian. I don't think she's been doing FlossTube for a while, but anyway, she used to FlossTube. I watched her all the time. I loved it. She finished this sampler, which was a magazine insert. But look at the colors and all of that. And I just freaking fell head over heels when she was showing it, and then she finished it, and I sent her a message and I said, oh my God, tell me where to find this. I need this. And she sent me this booklet, which again, it was an insert from a magazine, right? I have searched. I cannot find a designer. I can't find even a time period. Well, no, 2003. It's from 2003. I know that. It's all DMC. It's all charted in DMC, but it's just so sweet. And I got it. She mailed it to me, and I started it. And look, I did the alphabets. And this one, I started with the alphabet rather than started with the motifs at the bottom. So this is, again, 40 count. It's a 40 count even weave. And I got the alphabets done. It's all DMC. So it's not very big. I mean, this is the whole thing, right? With 2.5 inch margins. So it's not going to be that big. So again, another one that's like, I really want to do this. I don't think it'll take very long, and it'll be done. And I'll be happy. So this is another one that will come back into my rotation this year as a whip to finish. So that was fun, excavating that out of my craft room. Now the last one was kind of funny. I swore I had this started. This is another Hands Across the Sea, and it was a fundraising chart. Again, I want to say 2020. Hold on. Let me pull out the cover. It was a PDF. There's no date on it. But it was fundraising for a rural fire service in Australia, and it was Jane Marshall. Jane Marshall, 1857. Okay? I love this. Now, granted, I will take the band out with Jane's name. I don't need Jane's name. But the other, the alphabet bands and the letters, and then the nice Bargello piece, solid piece at the bottom, I like all that. And what I found, it was in a whip bag. It was in a Christmassy whip bag for some reason. The funny thing was that I found not only the DMC that I had kitted up with and a piece of 28 count fabric. I had never started it. And then I found the 103s. Those are all the colors for Jane Marshall. Well, 103s don't work on 28 count. I'm not going to do it with 2 strands. So I just happen to have the piece of Panettone 20 count Ada from Roxy Floss. So I tossed this into the bag. So this is going to be, Jane Marshall's going to go on this. Fabric that didn't even exist when that chart was released. So that'll come into play probably when Mary Steed is done. So as I'm going through this year, and my monthly, my 10 plus or minus 2 pieces that I'm doing as part of each rotation, the more that I can kind of keep mixing and matching with new starts and old whips, and I think that's going to keep it going and keep the motivation going through the year. So that is the plan. All right. Otherwise, for March, I don't have any other new starts planned. Of course, things can change, but at this point in time, I have no new starts planned for the month of March. I'm just going to work through the whips. If I can finish Big Heart Tiny Town, that would be fantastic. And then just get something else that's ideally under 30% to go. And then that would become the focus for next round. Like I said, right now I'm thinking it's going to be Graveyard Wander. We'll see. So that's the upcoming stuff. I do have 2 starts planned for April because my birthday is in the middle of April. So Jacob announced a quick Quaker stitch along for April. It's a small Quaker. I'll put a picture here. And he's structuring it like the holiday sale in December, where he's breaking it down. So every day, 140 stitches, I think. If you do 140-ish stitches each day, by the end of April, it'll be done. I can do 100 stitches a day, no problem. I really enjoyed having that kind of daily progress in December when I did the holiday stitch along. So let's try it again in April. And it's a Quaker, and I'm a sucker for a good Quaker. So we'll be starting that on April 1st. I am planning to do the multicolor version. I have ordered the floss from Evertote because it's another Roxy Floss, Evertote, Jacob collaboration. So I ordered the Evertote, the colors. They're not colors from their regular line. They dyed special for this particular Sal. And I'll put a link below. So I've got that on order. I have plenty of, I didn't buy fabric. I have fabric. I will figure out some sort of 40 count something to do it on. Or maybe not. Maybe I'll just, anyway, I'll find something. I got plenty of fabric. So that's coming. I also took advantage of their Patreon de-stash sale last month. And so you'll see that next time because it's on the way to me. I got some stuff. And who knows? There is fabric in there. Maybe that will work for the Quaker. All right, so that covers kind of sort of the plans. And anyway, all right, so I have some stash. I bought some stuff. So this is the stash bag. But I did also buy 2 project bags from the Disorderly Stitcher, and those came, and I love them. I love the pumpkins, and I like the stamps. So it's another patriotic-ish. So that was here. That came. Now, I will say before I dive into the bag, the best thing I purchased recently that came in February was a device holder for my Lowry stand. And I'll put a picture of what it looks like. It is phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal. If you stitch from a tablet and you have a Lowry stand, you need this because it sits on the bar, right? So the Lowry stand comes up and over, and it sits on the bar, and it looks kind of like a music stand, right? It's about yay big, and it's got straps that come over the corners. It'll hold your phone. I have a small Lenovo tablet that I use with Pattern Keeper. It holds that. It will hold my iPad when I stitch off of PDF notes. I also bought a little magnet board. This is Pattern. I bought this little magnet board, which is a little smaller than my tablet. It holds, but I use that for paper charts. It holds it perfectly. It's at a perfect eye line. Oh my gosh, this was the best investment for stitching paraphernalia that I have made in years. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend. I ordered directly from Lowry in the UK. I have an older stand. I bought mine long before the colored ones came out and before there were US-based distributors. I do not know about availability within the US, which is part of the reason I bought directly from Lowry. I will also say that the shipping is almost as much as the device holder, but again, worth every penny. If you order from Lowry, they will ask you to send a picture of your stand so that they can confirm what version you have so that they send you the right one. Evidently, the colored stands and the old school stainless steel, which is what I have, I suspect that the bars are different diameters, but that's just a guess. They just want to know which of those 2 that you have so that they send you the right one. But it took about 2 minutes to put on my Lowry. It is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Frees up because I stitch on the couch and I would have to prop my device up. No more. It's right there. It's perfect. Perfect. All right. So let's see what the stash bag holds. All right. So first is 2024 keepsake calendar. Not really useful as a calendar. Super useful. I bought it for this design, this Barbara Anna design right there. That's it. That's all I wanted in here. There's some other stuff in here, but that's why I bought it. So that came, and I got that from Stony Creek. I did take advantage of a couple of the homespun needlework special editions that came out. This one is Susan Little, 1844, from Colorado Cross Stitcher. I will not do this entire piece, but I do like many of the motifs in there that I'll probably scrunch it down, essentially, and do bits and pieces of it. I won't do the whole thing because there's no house. I like a house. So that came beautifully packaged from Colorado Cross Stitcher with all of the overdyed cotton, which is what I got, fabric, and this lovely little tray with the motif on it. So it's this little snap tray. So that was nice. Came lightning fast. Let's see, what else we got in here? I also purchased the Little Pink Drum House, also a special edition from Homespun Needlework from Acorns and Threads, all kitted. You know, if you told me 2 years ago I'd be buying Stacy Nash, I would have been laughing at you. But now, give me all the animal crackers. Right. I did get, last month, I started getting Fabrics by Stephanie from Garon, the monthly fabric of the month. So this was February. I get 36 count linen. That was January. I actually got February's today. We'll open that together because I haven't opened it yet. I ordered Vicky Stitch and Button put out a project bag set with Tula Pink fabric puffins. I love Tula Pink fabric. I like penguins are my favorite, but puffins are a close second. So this is the bag set. So I had to have that because hello. What else? Sorry. Okay. I have been buying from Cottage Cat Designs. I have been buying her floss drops, which I really, really like, and she does a really good job with her floss drops. And then she started dyeing 20 count Aida, and I'm like, you know what? I'm actually starting to really like 20 count Aida. So I bought 2 pieces of her hand dyed Aida. The blue is called Siamese, and this grayish, that is not the right color in any way, shape, or form. Anyway, it's called Felix, but it's actually a gray. It's not pink. It's not pink in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah. I got that. I bought the 2026 Collector's Heart for Heart and Hand. It's got fabric and thread, cottage garden thread. Ooh. I have had the winter sampler from Birds of a Feather on my eBay search list for years, and I was never fast enough to get it at a good price. So thankfully, Colorado Cross Stitcher has now re-released it, so now I have it. Yay. It's mine. And then when I bought the Stony Creek, or the calendar, the keepsake calendar from Stony Creek, I got the 2 free charts that were available at that time, which is this, the Pattern of the Month series. I don't know if I'll get the other ones, but we'll see. And then this ornament was they were free. I already had the calendar coming, so. All right. Attic. What did I buy at Attic? What am I starting next month for my birthday? In addition to what I've already shared that I'm starting next month for my birthday, which is the Mirabilia Royal Games. Wow. This is what else I'm starting. I'm starting Jean's Chocolate Sampler. This has been hanging in the attic for as long as I've been going there, which is probably over 30 years now. I started by going to the previous location from where they're at now, which was a much smaller location. And this sampler that Jean designed and Jean put together, these are phrases from Dove chocolates that were her favorite that she charted in sampler alphabets. I've been asking, from the first time I saw it, I was asking, is that charted? Can I buy it? And she just never, she says, yeah, I'm going to do that. Of course, she never had time. There was always more things going on. So she never charted it. And that's okay. After her passing, Carolyn, the rest of the girls at Attic said, we're going to go ahead and chart this. So they charted the design, so it's now available exclusively at Attic, and I was very happy, so I bought it. And again, it's Jean, which means, let's see, it has to be done in silk. I would do no less for Jean Lee. So I also bought some Gloriana, beautiful cranberry Gloriana. Sorry, I've got it all together. Cranberry Gloriana, beautiful red, and a piece of Cloister Cream Legacy Linen in 38 count. It's 38 count. I looked at the 46, but I didn't see any colors that I was super happy with for this particular silk, and I love Legacy Linen. It is fantastic to work on. So here's going to be my chocolate sampler. Oh. So this will be my birthday start, which is why we have the sweet April birthday sal, because it's chocolate. I'm stitching chocolate. Yes, if you can hear my dog bark, I'm sorry. He wants to come in and he's mad that I am delaying that, but I'm not going to stop again. All right. So then the last thing in my handy dandy little stash bag are today's things that I received. And let's see if I can, how fast I can. Well, while I'm working to get these open, let's do a quick book update. Hold on, I need my list. So last few months, or last month or so, I finished Brimstone, which is the sequel to Callie Hart's Quicksilver. It was quite good. It ends on a cliffhanger. If you do not like endings on a cliffhanger, I mean, it's a middle book in the trilogy. It's going to end on a bit of a cliffhanger. But this cliffhanger is worse than Quicksilver's cliffhanger. If you don't like the cliffhanger, wait until book 3 is closer before you start it. I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong, but it's not amazing, fantastic. I'm not going to tell you to read it now. I'm going to tell you to wait until the 3rd book comes out because the cliffhanger sucks. All right. I also finished listening to Jim Butcher's new Dresden novel, 12 Months. It was okay. It's not my favorite. Skin Game is my favorite. A lot of navel gazing, to be perfectly honest. It's literally encompasses 12 months, and it's all the aftermath from the Battle of Chicago and how Harry deals with some of the aftermath. But like I said, it's a lot of navel gazing and inner monologue, and I love Harry, but let's move along. So yeah, so that was that. I am currently reading Oathbringer. So I have gone back to my Brandon Sanderson Stormlight Archive. I'm only a couple hundred pages in, but it's good. I love it. And I'm also reading Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber, which is the March book for the, oh my God, Absinthe. Michelle, please don't hate me. So it's Michelle Kozieg's book club. It's Absinthe and Something Literary Society, and it's very interesting. It's a very kind of mix of, it's a genre. It's a bit of a genre mix. There's fantasy. There's a kind of noir detective feel. It's interesting. I'm probably 3/4 of the way through. Book club is on March 19th, so you have plenty of time if you want to join us. And again, I'll put links down below. The website is Mistress of the House of. I'll put the link down there. You just sign up for book club, and then you can RSVP to the Zoom call that we have on the 19th, and we talk about the book. So it's pretty good. And I successfully opened my packages. All right, fabric of the month, Fabrics by Stephanie. Elizabeth, 36 count linen. That's the February fabric of the month. That's not bad. It's pink. I don't think I have it. I don't think I really have pink fabric in my stash. So that's pretty good. And then I also purchased Zeke. This is a custom, this is a Garon exclusive animal cracker, and he's got a front and a back. So I bought him. This is one of the weeks. I think this is the weeks for his little Frankenstein mask that he has. And this is the fabric that it calls for. So I'm not expecting this to come in my Willow, my animal cracker of the month, which is why I went ahead and bought it. Now, this is the second time I ordered it, because the first time the package was delivered, but not to my mailbox. So now I'm having a conversation with the Postal Service, because thankfully Garon insures their packages. So now I have put in a claim against my first package, but I got the replacement, no problem. Thanks, guys. All right. Stash bag is empty. Woohoo! Ready to start filling up for next month. Okay. So last but not least, what are we watching? So Mike and I are watching Bosch. We did not watch the Prime series when it first came out. I adore Lincoln Lawyer, which is on Netflix, and we watched that, including the latest season. And then Bosch is same author, same universe, but since it's Prime and Netflix, the characters don't cross as much as they do in the books. So we're watching Bosch. We're on the last season. It's been pretty good. And then I also started watching Young Sherlock, which was newly released off of Prime. If you like the Robert Downey Jr., Jude Law Sherlock movies from Guy Ritchie, Guy Ritchie does Young Sherlock. It's the similar feel, similar music. It's quite good. I'm halfway through the 8 episodes, so I'll be finishing that probably sometime this week. So that's what we're watching. Well, and baseball. I will watch all the baseball. So, all right, that's it. That was a little longer than I expected, but we got through it. Thank you so much. I hope you're having a fantastic March. I am both happy and disappointed that the weather's warming up, but hey, it is what it is. It's going to be an interesting month work-wise, but you know, it is what it is, like I said. Have a fantastic day, weekend, whenever you're watching this. Thank you so much for spending the time and taking the time with me. I know there's a ton of people out there, and thank you for spending some time with me. Have a great day.